and our Thursday call, which you're on right now. Also, we are introducing a Saturday call as well with Dave. So Dave will have the Monday and a Saturday call as well for those who can't make it during the weekdays. And let's see. So yeah, I mean, the standard format of this is Matt. I'll go over some new features, things I'm kind of excited about, things that are maybe not as exciting but are happening. And I'll open up for any questions and pass it over to Julie for POS and GFO related items. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and just jump in. Again, on the back end of the software, if you click on the Help Center on the far right-hand side of the screen, you'll be able to click on the Features button. We're not really doing a fantastic job keeping up with it lately, but we are putting the change log in there, things we're releasing and updating, putting updates and notes in there, as well as updating the Confluence knowledge base that we have situated in there as well. Always great to go in there and ask a question first. If it's not there, come somewhere else and ask it. That'll also hopefully trigger us to get the answer listed in the knowledge base as well for others in the future. All right, features. A lot of the ones I have this week are kind of like bigger picture on this like spreadsheet that we maintain for our features and projects. We still kind of right now are slightly frozen on any large projects because we're wrapping up like the 7-Eleven stuff. We're really have been concentrating on just like stabilizing and general support and stuff like that right now, getting some processes further hammered out and all of that. So some of these are kind of bigger pictures, not like, hey, next week or this week or last week, but more like, hey, like in the next 6 months, right? All right, so, well, this one is a last week one, and this is the bundler. So just a reminder that the bundler stuff was released globally and exposed globally for everybody. It's in your locations area. You'll see a bundler tab. There's going to be 2 settings, on and off, an on-off checkbox, and then a field with a number in it. The number should default to 50, 50. That's kind of right in the middle of 0 and 100. That number represents, if the higher that number, the more likely you are to get more bundles. The lower that number, less bundles. So if you increase that number, if you feel as if you should be getting more in your market, turn it up. If you feel as if you're getting too many and should have less, turn it down. I would increment it down by like 10 points and then monitor from there. In the future items, dynamic quote time. Again, this is the concept of right now. It's this kind of quote times, estimated time of arrival. ETAs are based off of arbitrary numbers that you guys put into fields for in that matrix of distance matrix for mileage-based fee structures. Most often, this is what you're quoting times for consumers. It's all generally based on a per restaurant basis too, on a distance basis, right? 0 to 3 miles is 45 minutes, and 3 to 5 miles is 50 minutes, and so forth and so on. You can have buffers and all that now. Well, in the future, we'll have it, working what we're calling dynamic quote times. It's going to be using prep times and drive times and some other data points as well to dynamically create the quote times as opposed to just basing it straight up off distance. That'll be good because it'll use the dynamic prep times to calculate the quote times, as right now prep times have nothing to do with quote times. And that's all pretty exciting for real. Also, something I didn't even note here that I am excited about, and it's not like a super soon sort of thing either, but will be exciting once we flip. You'll recall we have our static prep time, which is a 1 field per restaurant. When you put a 0 in that field, it then turns and opens up what we call dynamic prep time. It opens up granular prep time, right? That's really what we have right now in there, granular. And then eventually we'll be rolling out what we're calling dynamic prep time. Dynamic prep time will automatically update the granular values on a per 15-minute per day of week increment. Um, and that's exciting too. So like the dynamic quote time is paired with granular prep time is turning into dynamic prep times. I think that'll have a massive impact on setting much more accurate expectations for as far as timing goes to the consumers as well as the restaurants and the drivers.
Hey, Matt. So basically, that's going to see like if I got like 5 orders on the board for restaurant A, it's going to kick their time up and keep everybody else low, right?
That is correct.
Perfect. That's great.
Right. Yeah. It's gonna be good. It's much more real. Like I don't think we're right now with the way we're set up that we're quoting like on reasonably terrible times, but obviously like this pathway forward makes a lot of sense. It is more true and proper. We do forecast another round of updates to DeliverLogic coming in the next few months to kind of match the functionalities that we added to that restaurant merchant portal. Get some of those over there in DeliverLogic. We have a few other things we're going to add to it. I don't have that list finalized yet. That work should begin soon as we kind of button up the driver, the other driver app updates fully, which I believe driver app update is still going well out there. As a kind of a note for anybody here, I've taken over the consumer app update pipeline. It was Susanna handling that stuff. So she is on maternity leave. Congrats to her. And she will be returning to us, I don't know, but many, many weeks from now. And so in the meantime, I'm handling the consumer app updates. Just kind of want to let you guys know that I am excited to take that over and to help streamline that process for new apps and for updates. So if you just kind of want to make that note for the purpose of letting you know if you are or you have been waiting on an app update, or if you don't have an app yet, you're waiting to get it built, should be coming out soon. We were also on a app development production freeze during that handoff phase, not only because of the handoff phase, or really not at all due to the handoff phase, but primarily because we were making a ton of small fixes and bug updates in there. So I am queuing everybody for updates as quickly as I can get everybody through that process. All right, some cool items looking forward to DoorDash and Lyft third-party driver integrations. Currently, we have a third-party driver integration with Uber Eats, and started off as the Postmates, and then Uber Eats, and we're going to be adding Lyft and DoorDash to that. So should be neat. I think we'll probably shoot a query to all three simultaneously, see who you get the best price and time from, and use that, or list the options if you're doing it manually. But if you're doing it through AD, it'll just do it with the best option there, that sort of thing. So that's cool and exciting. Driver auto onboarding is something that's listed. Auto onboarding, a little stuffed up here. It's a hard word to say with a stuffy nose. That's gonna be neat. Driver staffing is always one of the things that folks say is kind of one of the hardest pain points out there. So making it easier to get more of them, I guess, is cool. I've always wanted to, I guess, as a side note, it kind of would be neat. Like auto onboarding, cool. But to me, actually, honestly, it's kind of like whatever, right? Right on. I could, it takes me a minute to fill out a dude's thing. I could also have a job form, whatever. But to automate it, I guess, hey, cool, But what'll be really neat is to have like automated onboarding with some sort of like driver referral incentive type thing. Like if you are a driver already, there's like an auto onboarding link that driver is every driver is given, and those drivers can share that link and get other drivers to join, and driver A gets a $30 credit or a $100 credit after 30 days of the other driver driving, or some stuff like that, I think would be really powerful, because that sort of thing is what actually helps with retention. Um, TripAdvisor integrations. It's like ordering through TripAdvisor. GFO dashboard. So yeah, like as you guys know, we don't have much of a GFO dashboard for y'all to look at or manipulate settings or anything like that. We had tried building a couple of them out there, and we kind of just halted, and then I managed the processes instead and took requests. Now Julie's doing the same. So we're getting closer to potentially busting back through some like you guys client facing GFO related toggleability for ons, offs, takeouts, deliveries, fee structures, things of that nature. And we are actually kind of just have busted through a few issues recently with some GFO stuff that Julie may have some info on, but it was kind of just more like internal structural stuff that we were cutting through there. Outside of that, though, guys, I really don't have much else on the list. Sure, I'm missing something, but I just can't think of anything else right now that I'm super pumped about. Primarily just still really amped on some internal changes that we've made as far as structure of kind of how we're approaching support tickets as they come in, how we're approaching our verifying of issues processes, our QA testing processes, and our development and deployment processes. So a lot of changes going on internally, which has been great. And great to announce as well that we're bringing on an additional guy back to the team. He used to be on the call center side, Evan. He's going to be joining back in on like a kind of a Nick Sidick, Noah type dude, doing QA testing and verifying issues as they come across the board. That's all I've got. Any questions regarding features or anything else before we pass it on to Julie?
I think Jeff has his hand raised. Yeah.
Hey, how are we doing today?
Hey, Jeff.
So question, driver question that comes up a lot, and I think of it as a feature. If not, let me know. But route management. If an order is bundled, or they have multiple orders, is there a way we can have it where it is bundled, where it'll say, okay, deliver to this one first, and then go ahead and deliver to the second one, like in a map, like it pulls up? Is there a way that we can do that, or is there something out there now that does that?
The bundler should do that. If it's a truly bundled bundle, the bundler should be messaging them, telling them to take them to pick them up and to drop them off in a particular order.
So when they open up their maps, though, will it actually say, like, will it show them?
No,
okay.
no, not right now.
Asking. Okay, that's
right. Got you. They will get a text message that says which order in which to execute, how to do it. But right now, no. If they click like map, it's not going to map both of the orders at once, or it's not going to drop those 4 pins in the order in which the text message tells them to do it.
Perfect. Okay.
Not yet, but yeah, noted on that. Makes sense. Guys, anything else? Yeah, there's just some big picture items that are, really items that we discuss through on our weekly stakeholder call. We'll shuffle those around sometimes, but those are the big picture items right now that are out there. We'll be slipping a lot of smaller stuff through in the meantime, and of course, keeping up with fixes too. I had a side note because I haven't had a chance to really inspect this, but we posted something on Facebook because we have this places functionality. We've had it for years, right? it used to be hotels. If you've been with us for a super long time, you'll know about hotels functionality. Well, we turned hotels functionality a while ago, like a year, 2 years ago, into places, and then a hotel is now a type of a place, and there's like breweries and bases and dorms and whatever work offices and stuff like that. And then you can actually have like this there's a concept of sub places. So like if it's like a huge building, then you can put like office certain unit numbers or whatever as a sub place. And we've had that functionality for a long time. But we posted about it, and then somebody was like, "Why are you guys wasting time doing this? I've got a ticket in that's not resolved yet." And I understand frustrations about tickets that sit and stuff. We do try our best to get to them as quickly as we can. My point is that was developed like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and we didn't put developer time into that. We just have a guy, specifically Nicola, now, who it's his job to look through things and get things documented better. So he made a YouTube video about it because he realized there wasn't a good one out there. So just pointing it out, like if we throw a video out there, it doesn't necessarily mean that like we just did that or that we're like wasting time or anything. Definitely managing the resources as good as possible, and then adding in new ones that hopefully result in better documentation and better interfacing of information to you guys. That is the goal. So appreciate all of you.
Quick question on that, places, since you brought that up. I want to still watch the video. So in a customer end of it, when they once I activate that and I put in like college dorms, or hotels, so when a customer orders, will there be an option that they can pick like dorms or places, or when they put in the address? Because what happens is, for an example, the main address to our SUNY Potsdam school is 44 Pierpont Ave. And then they'll put lot 18 or lot 17. But on Google Maps, you got to zoom in to get that. Or they'll put like Bowman Hall. So how would I convert those customers to use places, or how would it look like on the customer side?
So like underneath, there's no automatic changes on the customer side. You have a places link in your nav bar right now, it looks like, Jeff.
Yeah.
But like if you really want to push them there, you might consider like dropping a link right underneath your text on above your address call out, maybe. Something right there like colleges, dorms. I've got people that use it for military bases, for beaches, for
for sure.
Over, all sorts of things, boat slips. Because what's cool about sub places is at the sub place level, you can actually drop a latitude, longitude. And when the driver, like when any mileage-based calculations occur, it uses the actual lat long for those calculations. Also, when the driver gets that order, it leads them to that lat long, so it solves for the issues of driver doesn't know exactly where to go.
And correct me if I'm wrong, underneath places, if I mark like dorm room A or dorm B or C, wherever the ones that are called, I can set specific delivery fees for those places, right? Those sub places.
You can restrict delivery times, delivery restaurants, and you can manipulate delivery fee.
Wow. Okay.
So like one of the main purposes of place, subplace functionality is really so that you can say, all right, for this workplace, there's an office, and there's I'll go to this office. I'll say, hey, look, I want you guys to order more from me, and so here's what I'm going to do. Normally my lowest delivery fee is $4.99, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up so that if you guys go through this places link I have for your office, you'll be able to order for a noon slot and a 1 p.m. slot, Monday through Friday. Every day there'll be 2 different restaurants available for you, and like you will use 2 restaurants that are close to each other or near to that workplace, whatever might be convenient for you. And then you set the delivery fee for those shifts for those 12 into one for that day of the week to $2 instead of $4.99. And then of course you're going to get significantly more orders, all due at the same time to the same place from the same place. So you can have one driver bust out all those orders going to that spot because it's not a group order, right?
Yeah.
You convinced me, Matt, employee one at Office A, to place an order, and all throughout the process of me placing my order, when I go through that link, there's like a click here to share with somebody else to place this order. So and then it tries to get me to share it with other people, so that before you know it, you've got 10 orders every Monday at 1 p.m. going from 2 restaurants to the same spot.
And you're picking the restaurants that are at a close proximity to the delivery, so you're not going from one side of the town to the other to pick up orders and then deliver it, which is really cool. And I guess that's a upsell really to us when we talk to these restaurants on their places. And
Right.
Because I don't know if it was my old software that I had the capability of doing that, but then I had restaurants that actually would pay us to be in that spot, to be kind of highlighted for that specific address, like a hospital or an office workplace where you have a lot of workers. So they would pay as a sponsor, that I would charge them a sponsor fee, and then they would be the only one there. But then I got rid of it because then there was a lot of issues with other restaurants. So I like the fact that I can have multiple, but I can just choose the local restaurants as close as possible. So like you said, if they have 10 orders, they're all due at 12 o'clock. You just have to pick up from restaurant A and deliver it right to the same locations, and it's all going to be there at the same time.
You totally got it, man. That's exactly it. And like, I always like to think about the scenario in which it's a cool, interesting, extrapolation or use case as far as the restaurant sponsoring of a workplaces, like a lunch or something style like that. I always like to think about when it comes to which restaurants are going to offer, like, yes, proximity, but also like if you just signed up like a new restaurant and you really want to show them that you're providing value and bring them a lot of orders or something like that, maybe you slip them in. Because again, if you like have 2 or 3 workplaces that are all next to each other, then it might make sense that you offer some restaurant from, if that's on like the east side of town, you offer like one restaurant to all 3 of those workplaces on the east side from the west side restaurant, like on Wednesdays, West Side Wednesdays. And anyway, if you have all 3 offices on the east side set to that, then you're still just picking up a shit ton of orders from the west side of your market, bringing them all to the east side all at the same time. So it's not really crazy worse or anything like that. But it's a good way to provide extra value to the restaurants on the fly. Almost as close as we can get to like a flash sale type thing.
Alex asked, do they need to specifically go to the places link? Yes,
They do.
right?
They do. That's right. So there is like, I don't know who has it set up good right now, but basically if you have places, you click on places, and then when you're in places, you'll see like bases, breweries, dorms, workplaces, schools, hotels. If you have them set up in the back end, they will display on the front end. If you click on any of them, like start order on any of them, so there's like a link for each type, and then there's a link for each place. So you can link somebody directly to a place as well. So like Matt's workplace, you could get an email list for all the people that work at Matt's workplace, and then email all of them a link directly to the place ordering link if you so wanted to do that.
That video that Nick put on, does it go into detail as far as setting one up?
I do believe it should. Yeah. Okay. And the one he put up, we actually took it down real quick, but he's making another one. We took it down for not reasons associated with the Facebook comment that I was mentioning.
Okay.
But it should be up again probably by the end of the day. He's got
Okay.
a doctor's appointment right now. Any other questions relating to features? That was fun to bring up places in general, though. Places is a good one.
Do you happen to know if they released the address functionality, I guess, to make it better? They were talking about it this past week. Has that been pushed out yet? If you're aware of it.
So a fair amount of those updates were pushed out on Tuesday morning. There's one big one that's still remaining that Devin was looking over again once more this morning to verify that it's good. And then we do plan on actually pushing a code push today between lunch and dinner shift.
Okay.
They should have, I think, the remaining parts of that.
Okay. So because it's on Thursday, you guys still push certain codes depending on what it is on any day of the week, but any major ones normally it's on Tuesdays, if I'm correct.
That's right. Monday into Tuesday is like the main action, you know. Now we always have the possibility of doing a subsequent code push on a Wednesday or a Thursday. It's always going to be before lunch or between lunch and dinner if it's small enough. Very, very rarely will we push any code on Fridays that requires 3 out of 4, or actually a 4 out of 5 person vote must occur in order for that to happen on a Friday. So it's a pretty much only if it's like for sure going to fix something that's going to for sure be a problem and for sure not cause a problem, then we'll do it. All right, guys, I'm going to pass it over to Julie. Julie, hello.
Hello. So some exciting things going on in the POS world. I know I've been talking about Clover for a couple weeks now, but we have done some real tests, like sending order tests. There were some issues with modifiers, so the dev team is working on that part, and we'll be testing again later today. So that is coming up just around the corner. With next week's, this is sort of a feature thing maybe, but with next week's Tuesday code push, you guys should see a new ability on POS integrated menus where you can now edit or adjust the item availability. So there are some POS systems, like the simpler ones like Square and Clover, that they do not allow the restaurant to have different menus with different times. So like a breakfast, lunch, or dinner menu. I don't know why. I guess they just rely on the servers knowing, what time of day they can order the breakfast burrito and not ordering it at 6 p.m. But that causes a problem for us when we're doing a POS integration versus like manually building a menu. You can obviously set those item availabilities, but if it comes in from a POS, we have no control over that. So now your restaurant's breakfast menu shows all day long and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, we are pushing an ability to be able to adjust those availabilities for menu items. So that should be out next Tuesday. I'll talk about it again on next week's Thursday call, and I'll do a screen share and kind of show you guys how it works, but that's pretty exciting. And I know that's going to help a lot of you guys out there with these POS integrations. So I'm looking forward to that. I will be over the weekend working on some knowledge-based articles on POS orders not sending and some troubleshooting for that. And then into some GFO stuff. So restaurants self-opting out for accepting food orders through Google. They do have the ability to do that in their Google Business Admin. Some of you guys have experienced that. Some of you guys even have a close enough relationship with your, maybe a few of your restaurants where you have access to their Google Business page. They've given you access to it, so you might know what that looks like behind the scenes. I'm going to create a knowledge-based article with some screenshots that will kind of walk you guys through how to talk to your restaurant partners about re-enabling Google food orders on their side. I will say that it defaults to being on. So what a restaurant would have had to do at some point in their history of having a Google Business admin login is go in and turn it off themselves. Most restaurants don't know how to do that or where that is. But there are a few out there that are more tech savvy and they're much more involved in their Google Business listing. And we have seen that they have gone in and self-opted out. So there'll be some information on how to talk to them about opting back in, self-opting back in. And then I'm going to do another article about delivery fees, GFO delivery fees, and our tier multiplier, which is the formula we have in place that corrects the way Google calculates distance versus the way DeliverLogic calculates distance. So there'll be some good information in there and also things you can do to troubleshoot on your own when distances seem wacky or maybe the fees seem a little strange before submitting a ticket. So keep an eye out for those articles there. Otherwise, not really anything else on the POS or GFO front. Yes, Jeff.
You're gonna get sick of me.
That's
So,
all right.
Toast. Are they better to work with Charlie or It's a Checkmate? And I know Charlie, you guys are, you know, more pushing It's a Checkmate. So has anybody now with Toast? Have you seen anybody? Let me rephrase it. Have you had any RDSs that hooked up Toast and Charlie integration or Toast and It's a Checkmate integration?
We have both, but I will say with the Charlie ones, we've seen them creep in on the GFO with those Toast integrations. So that's one of the biggest reasons why we're moving more towards It's a Checkmate, because they are kind of competing with us in that Google realm. But as far as like the way the integration actually works, they're both really similar. It's more, Toast is so detailed and complex that whenever there's issues, or most of the time I would say when there's issues that come up with a Toast integration, it's due to a random setting within the POS, and it really takes the restaurant calling like Toast customer service and them walking through what needs to be done. But as far as the middleware companies for Toast, they're pretty much the same.
So are you working with, I know like you have something with Clover and then you have, are you working with Toast at all currently?
We would love to. Toast has closed their API. I did get one of our RDS clients sent me a LinkedIn contact for someone higher up at Toast, and I did reach out to them, but I haven't heard back. You know, and I always like to say this on the webinar as well, but if any of you all have contacts to a decision maker at Toast, I'd love to have that information. We can reach out and try to work towards a direct integration, but for now, we just don't have anyone that we can reach out to in Toast for that direct integration. And they've closed their API. So for us to work on it, like sort of outside of their decision maker realm, like we just don't have access to that information that we would need without getting a hold of someone at the company. But any other, let's break it down. Any GFO related questions? General topic. All right. And
Yes,
any,
I have one.
oh,
This
yes,
is Jacques
go ahead.
Malley. On starting, I believe this week, my GFOs, many of them, I won't say all of them, but many of them on my screen in the zone area are saying out of area GFO when they're not. They could be right next to the restaurant. Do you know why this is happening? And it's not only myself, because in another call, other people had mentioned it.
I actually had Emery, he reached out to me about that as well. He gave me a few order examples and I haven't had a chance to reach out to them. Have you noticed it with either just certain restaurants or just certain customers?
No, it's
pretty
widespread.
random.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
widespread, and it's you know, it's a function that is, you know, it's very helpful to look down and know if a driver is being assigned over the volcano or in the top of the volcano when it's
Right.
way out of the area. You know, now we basically have to look at every order.
It might. I don't know why that has just started for you. That's kind of puzzling. If it's something that has been going on for a while, I would say it has to do with the tier multiplier and that calculation I mentioned earlier with the between GFO and DeliverLogic distance wise.
Yeah,
yeah, I have it on my list of things to do before the end of the week to dive into those. Like I said, Emery shared with me some order numbers from you and from one other client, so I need to definitely look in to see. It's not affecting the orders actually like being placed. It's just a hassle for you because now you have to check more orders than you used to, and they end up not actually being far away.
yeah, it's hassle.
Okay.
That's something to say, but it's not like a, you know, it's a big inconvenience. Let me say,
Right.
when you have, you know, 20 orders on the board or whatever it may be, and 7 of them are saying this, and you're driving and, you know, very busy to have to stop and look at each individual one and find out they're all fine.
Yeah.
It's a problem. It's not
Yeah.
often we have something, you know, that's way out of area, but when it is and we're busy, we need to stop it immediately and cancel
Right.
that before it gets ordered. You know, because otherwise we're losing a driver for an hour and a half. And
Yeah, for sure.
So it's
Yeah,
definitely a good function to have.
I'm definitely gonna look into that for you today.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And then Alex, you had, GFO, some say enable delivery only. So we can only fully enable GFO, so delivery and takeout, if you are also offering both of those options on your website. It will mimic the GFO availability, whether it's delivery and takeout. It will mimic whatever you have on the restaurant profile. Okay, you say we are. So if, let's say you started out delivery only for a restaurant, and that's when we enabled it for GFO, and then maybe later on you got takeout on there, the GFO status will not automatically update. You'd have to let someone from DeliverLogic, probably myself, know to add takeout on there for GFO. We'd have to do that manually on our side in our internal settings. Awesome. Okay. Any other GFO questions. All right. And let's move on to POS, general topics, general questions. Anything that I didn't cover already?
I didn't catch if you had maybe mentioned ETA on that Clover integration.
Yeah, I did at the beginning. So I know I keep saying this, but we are really close to it being done. We've done some live or like actual tests of orders going through from DeliverLogic to Clover testing site. There are some hangups with modifiers, and our dev team is working on getting those kinks out. Fingers crossed, I'll be able to send a couple real orders to a restaurant either tomorrow or early next week. And then we'll slowly roll it out from there. But I know they're super close. It's really just getting those modifiers all set.
Okay, perfect. I had a couple of restaurants ask me, and I said, hey, just hang tight. Give me like a month or so. Should be good. I don't want to go the Checkmate route.
Yeah, definitely. And we still have some internal things to work out on the business side of it as well. So we'll have all of that packaged together and present it to our clients all at once. So
yeah, for sure.
Cost and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. And then maybe something else for you just to know, to let folks know before you start doing it, because I've worked on a couple going through the Checkmate portal myself, and just what you want to do is you got to contact your restaurant and make sure they make an order attention item and make it $0 in their POS system first. Because they do that first, then you can go through the whole onboarding process in Checkmate, right? Because you'll actually go through a bunch of stuff and you'll get to the end and they'll ask you, did you create this order attention item yet? And if you say no, it won't let you submit.
You got to start over.
You got to start over, right? So yeah,
All
I mean,
right.
so you'll waste about 10 minutes inputting a bunch of info and then can't submit. So yeah.
Good to know. But that's with Checkmate.
That's with Checkmate.
Right.
Other than that, once you have that done, it's a pretty smooth process,
Cool. Well, hopefully ours will be even smoother.
That's what I'm hoping for. Smoother than it's a Checkmate.
For sure.
Yeah, that self-onboarding portal. It's interesting.
It's not too bad,
Once you do a couple of them, it's fine. But those first one or two are like a little confusing. And I've tried. Yeah. There is a knowledge-based article on that portal with step-by-step and screenshots and everything. So if anyone here does decide to start it's a Checkmate onboarding for one of your restaurants, please check out that article.
And just to make sure, Julia, besides pizza, okay, so if we take the pizza out of the equation, it's a Checkmate work pretty good with anybody else that has it integrated?
Like different POS systems?
Yes. Like if they have Clover, I mean, obviously we're doing a direct integration with Clover, but with Toast or anything like that, or are they having an issue, me personally, with the POS system that I have, or are they having an issue with that data, with that email that they sent back this morning because of the pizza, all the toppings for different sizes? Is it that is the issue, or is the issue, because for me it seems like the issue is the data point. Once you click on the pizza, the price of the toppings is what I've noticed their issue being. So if I look at a restaurant that does like burgers, chicken sandwiches, Tracy?
Yeah, that will definitely be much more streamlined. And I haven't, and fortunately, unfortunately, your case seems to be an outlier because we haven't come across that with any other restaurants or different types of POS systems that we've done with Checkmate yet. So that's promising. Once like, so the first, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 restaurants that I did personally with It's a Checkmate, there were some kinks to work out, but that was more of just like a process between how myself and the Checkmate staff were going to communicate and like time things out with each other. But after that, like things have been pretty smooth. So, and from what I gather was that exactly kind of what you're saying with the prices and how far the modifiers go with your pizzas. They have to add a whole other column to their database to account for like how many times deep those modifiers go.
And which is really surprising to me is someone like It's a Checkmate and who they have partnered with and the integrations they do with the POS system. All pizza places are technically the same when it comes to toppings in different sizes. So I'm really surprised that they never ran into that situation before.
Well, I will say that this V2 that we're on with them, it's less than a year old, so I'm sure they're kind of running into things that they didn't expect as well.
No, for sure. I mean, they did give me an option before to make it more simplified, but it doesn't give the customer the full access to our menu. And I'm like, listen, if I can't do the full replica of my POS system, then I don't want it. It doesn't make any sense.
And currently, that's the way Charlie works as well. They work with the restaurant before the integration is complete to redo the menu if needed and make it more simple. And less modifiers. So both of them work that way currently.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, so I'm curious on that there, Jeff, because I had an integration rolling with a pizza place like 2 years ago. And I mean, it's still in process, right? This is how long it's been going. But
2 years? I would have no hair left. I would have no hair left.
Yeah. We started this just prior to I think it was just prior to COVID hitting, like in February. And so yeah, I'm still hanging up right now with, I have one of their restaurants about to go live. I'm probably gonna do some testing today and I should be able to go with the other 2, but we did have it live at one point. And with their pizzas, they came back and said we had to rebuild our menu and say for the pizzas, say pepperoni left side, pepperoni right side, sausage left side, sausage right side with every topping. And so the menu itself looked like shit to the customer, you know.
Yeah, so like,
but that was the only way they could integrate it.
How I have it with mine, if a customer goes on my pizzeria, they'll click on pepperoni, right? And it'll say whole or half 1 or half 2. And then anything went under half 1, it would go on and it'll be good and set. But the problem was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Juliet, but my pricing, the base price is correct. It's if I have a 20-inch pizza, a 16-inch pizza, or a 12-inch, or my specialty pizzas, they were not showing the top. They were showing the toppings, but they were showing it with a 0 price tag. So if they want to add pepperoni, sausage, mushroom, they can add it, but then I, as the pizzeria, will be losing out on 3 toppings prices on it, right? So I'm losing revenue.
Yeah, they're adding a column so they can do the modifiers, but the pricing isn't connected to it. So they have to add that.
Once that gets done, Dusty, like mine will be all set. Because I mean, they did push it to live. And I was like, wait a second, we got to revert it back because it's not correct. Everything else looks really good. It's just that add-on modifier with the pricing that I'm hoping that will be fixed by next week. Is from what I gathered from the email. And then we can do a test on it. So that would resolve that issue. Other than that, everything else looks great on there. Because again, my point is, if you're going to do an integration, you want it to be a complete replica of what your system is to what that is. But if depending on how this goes, I might switch POS systems. I don't know, to something different.
What POS are you using?
So I use MicroWorks Prism. They're
Okay.
based out of Rochester, New York. They do a lot, and they actually have. So it's like DeliverLogic has a partnership with it's a Checkmate, and then a MicroWorks Prism has a direct integration with it's a Checkmate, and they have several hundreds of restaurants that they use, and they had one that has 75 pizzerias, but their menu is not as detailed as ours, meaning that it's not customizable, or they didn't want that on there. For me, it's all about that revenue. So if people want half whatever, I'm going to let them do exactly what they can do on my website or on in store. Actually, in store, I can actually go like quarter one, quarter two. I'm not doing all that. I'm not going that crazy with it, but yeah. So if I have to switch, I have a couple ideas on who I'm going to switch to, just to make it easier for integration between DeliverLogic and the POS system, so I can kind of filter all my orders online versus have to punch it in from my tablet into my POS system.
Cool.
Gotcha.
All right. Any other POS questions, topics? All right.
Hey, Julie, just shock again. GFO really, and it's simple. I don't have you on my Slack channel. I don't know if you have Slack or if we can do that. But,
I do. I can join your channel.
Okay. Yeah, it's just my logo is not showing up correctly when you.
Yeah. I can fix that. That'll be easy.
Yeah, figured. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'll message you and you just send me the logo that you want to be there. It's best if it's a square 1-to-1 ratio. 400 pixels, I think, is what we fall back on. 400 by 400. All right. Well, if that's it, I will turn it back over to Matt to wrap things up. Hello, Matt.
Might be helping. I see there was an outage that I just got a notification for, so maybe he jumped on to help something out.
Oh, okay. Well,
I am back here.
Oh,
Hello.
there we go.
Sorry, you guys
That's
wrapping
okay.
up there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I don't have anything else to add at this time. Appreciate everybody joining. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great weekend. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye now.